Welcome to the KCI Site-Specific Orientation. The following is an overview of the KCI safety program requirements for this project. At the end of this presentation, there will be a quiz to verify understanding and acknowledgement of the site safety guidelines. In addition to the information in this presentation, please read and follow directions or requirements of safety signage posted around the project. At KCI, we pride ourselves on being a builder. We understand the risks and hazards associated with self-performed work, and we firmly believe that with increased planning, coordination, and communication, serious injuries and incidents do not have to result from self-performed construction activities. We have a favor to ask you. Since you are the experts in your field, we are asking for commitment from each of you to helping KCI maintain a safe, injury-free job site and a zero-incident goal. Prior to start of work on this project, all subcontractors must acknowledge the site safety guidelines in writing and identify their competent person along with qualifications of that person. All site employees will sit for the site-specific orientation with a member of the KCI project team. This is a drug and alcohol-free project. Upon request, employee verification must be provided of an active status in a drug and alcohol testing program as outlined in the KCI safety program. Incidents, accidents, and near misses. All incidents, accidents, and near misses, regardless of severity, must be reported to the KCI superintendent immediately. Each site worker is expected to cooperate with post-incident reporting, investigation, and drug testing. As part of our zero-incident goal, all incidents will be viewed as an opportunity for improvement in site safety, hazard control, and prevention of similar future accidents. Emergency response and evacuation. In the event of a serious incident or emergency, site employees are authorized to call 911. Following emergency services contact, the KCI superintendent must be notified to facilitate proper response and site coordination. For evacuation of the site, an evacuation point will be previously identified and posted at the project trailer. The daily safety and production huddle forms will be used to verify all personnel are at the evacuation point. High hazard and permit required activities. Prior to the start of any high hazard or permit required work, subcontractors must coordinate with the KCI superintendent for authorization of the work. Permit work includes, but is not limited to, excavation, confined space, hot work, lockout tagout, and critical picks. The KCI superintendent or member of the project team will review the work hazards, controls, and permit requirements with the subcontractor and periodically verify compliance. At the end of the day or shift, a copy of the completed, closed permit will be provided by the subcontractor to the KCI project team. Excavation and trenching. Prior to any excavating, the subcontractor must identify their competent person, complete the KCI excavation checklist, classify the soil type, determine the proper sloping, benching, shoring, and/or engineered protective system to be used based on the soil type, and determine safe means of access and egress. Barricading and fall prevention or protection are required around open excavations or trenches. Confined space entry requirements. The permit must be completed by the subcontractor and requirements reviewed with the KCI superintendent. Proper training and competent person qualifications will be verified. All necessary equipment and protective equipment will be identified. MSDS of all chemicals to be used in the space will be available and reviewed. Failure to follow proper confined space protocols will result in work stoppage. Hot work. Hot work is defined as any spark, flame, or heat-producing activity. Proper PPE must be provided by each subcontractor and worn by impacted employees. Fire protection must be immediately available. Fire watch is required during hot work and for 1 hour after hot work completion. Hot work permits will be issued through the KCI project team for hot work in confined spaces, inside structures, and when otherwise required by the owner or client. Lockout tagout. Any need for energy isolation, electrical, water flow, mechanical, etc. must be authorized and coordinated with the KCI project team. Subcontractors may use their own lockout tagout permit, provided it provides adequate communication of hazards, controls, and authorization. Critical picks. KCI defines a critical pick primarily as a hoisting operation that exceeds 75% of the rated capacity of the hoisting equipment or use of 2 cranes to hoist an item, and hoisting of high dollar value items, long lead items, hoisting of loads onto or into a structure, hoisting of irreplaceable one-of-a-kind items, and hoisting of personnel. Pre-lift meetings must be held prior to critical picks to review completed critical pick forms, rigging plans, qualifications of signalmen and riggers, operators, and verification of equipment inspection, safety devices, and stability, as well as additional hazards related to delivery, access, barricading, etc. Hoisting and rigging. This section is not meant to be all-inclusive, due to the fact that all rigging and hoisting will take place under the direction of a qualified rigger and signalman. No loads will be hoisted without first knowing the weight of the item and any other devices hanging from the tip of the crane that pose a load on the hoisting equipment. Open rigging practices are prohibited. All chokers will be secured in a closed hook with a safety latch, shackle, or similar device. All rigging must be inspected prior to use and removed from service if damaged or defective. Defective rigging found on site will be immediately removed. Use of damaged rigging will be considered a safety violation. No loads will be flown over others. Barricading will be used to identify hoisting areas. Taglines will be used to control loads being hoisted. Daily Safety and Production Huddle. All site personnel must participate in a daily safety and production huddle. This is a documented meeting using a form detailing the work to be performed that day, equipment to be used, hazards, effective controls, and personal protective equipment. Sample forms are available from the KCI superintendent. These completed forms must be available upon request by any member of the KCI project or safety team. Fall protection. All work above the ground or floor, even 1 foot, will require the evaluation for effective protection and injury prevention mechanisms. All efforts must be made to engineer out the hazard of falling regardless of height. A stable work platform must be provided for all work. If fall exposures cannot be avoided, all trades working at a height of 6 foot or more must use 100% fall protection, including but not limited to exposures of leading edges, roof work, structural steel, precast girders, and decking. Fall protection must be designed to limit free fall distance between 2 and 6 feet, as well as prevent contact with the lower level. Fall protection references in Subpart R of the Steel Erection Standard will not be applicable while working on KCI projects, and KCI does not allow the use of safety monitors for fall protection. Scaffolds. Hazards related to the use of scaffold systems and plan controls must be detailed in the daily safety and production huddle. Scaffolds will be fully decked and include a full guardrail system, including top rail, mid rail, and toe board, regardless of height, even 1 foot off the ground. This applies to all forms of scaffolds: suspension, supported, and mobile. This includes Baker type and form scaffolds. Aerial lifts. All employees operating aerial lifts must be certified and be familiarized with the specific machinery they are operating. A documented inspection must be performed prior to each use. Aerial lifts must be equipped with motion alarms for any motion, travel, or swing. Personnel must follow manufacturer and OSHA requirements for fall protection in all aerial work platforms, scissor, and boom lifts. Employees must stand firmly on the floor of the basket and not sit, climb, or stand on guardrails. All guardrails, gates, and chains must be engaged on equipment prior to operation. Materials may not be hoisted with aerial lifts unless manufacturer-approved devices specifically designed for this purpose are used. Rated lift capacity must not be exceeded. Protection must be put in place to keep other employees at least 6 feet from operating aerial lifts and overhead work areas. Ladder safety. All efforts must be made to give the most stable work surface. Use of ladders to perform work will require ensuring a stable position, maintaining 3 points of contact, not carrying tools while climbing, facing the ladder, and keeping your belt buckle between the side supports. Inability to maintain a stable position will require the use of a more stable work platform. If employees are working from ladders at heights above 6 feet and cannot maintain 2 feet on the ladder and contact of their belt buckle within the side rails, fall protection will be required. All ladders must have non-slip feet and be secured from movement. The top 2 steps of a stepladder shall not be used to sit or stand. Stepladders must be used as designed on level surfaces with locking members engaged. Aluminum ladders are not permitted on this project, and only 1A or greater rated ladders may be used. Fall protection will be required on ladders when working near floor, wall openings, leading edges, or other areas where employees are working above guardrail protection. Material Safety Data Sheets, MSDS. KCI is responsible for coordination of information between the owner, KCI, and subcontractors. A member of the project team will request and compile MSDS information for materials specified for and brought onto the project. Subcontractors must maintain MSDS for all materials and chemicals brought onto the project. Workers must be provided access to MSDS information for any material they are using. Personal protective equipment requirements by manufacturers for products must be followed. All chemical containers must have proper hazard labeling and be stored in accordance with manufacturer and applicable regulatory guidelines. Power and hand tools and electrical hazards. Ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCI, must be in place on all construction power circuits. All hand, power, pneumatic, and powder actuated tools will be inspected prior to use and only operated by trained, authorized, and/or certified personnel. Additional PPE will be worn as necessary and identified in the daily safety and production huddle. Additional PPE and practices will be required for tools generating flying debris or tools that shoot nails or fasteners. Personal protective equipment. Minimum required personal protective equipment, PPE, for this project include hard hats and safety glasses. Safety glasses and prescription eyewear must meet ANSI Z87 requirements for impact and be equipped with side shields. High visibility vests or apparel are required when working in traffic or around earth-moving equipment. Additional PPE is required based on other tool and work hazards. For example, KCI requires a face shield over safety glasses during activities that result in flying debris, such as use of demo saws, chop saws, or grinders. Traffic exposure. Appropriate traffic control devices, including but not limited to signs, barricades, flashing lights and arrows, barrels, attenuators, will be used in and near roadways and railways. High visibility clothing will be worn as applicable. Class 2 during the day and Class 3 at night and as required due to roadway speeds. No single flagger may attempt to control traffic in 2 directions. Additional personnel or devices will be required. Spill control. Any subcontractor with mobile or heavy equipment in operation must have a spill control kit to collect fluids leaked or spilled on site. There will be no fuel tank storage on site without approval from the KCI superintendent. Fuels, lubricants, or chemicals spilled on site must be reported to the KCI superintendent immediately. Heavy and mobile equipment operation. An experienced, qualified operator shall operate equipment and perform documented daily inspections. Swing radius barricades shall be maintained around all rotating and swinging equipment. Heavy equipment, including cranes, dump trucks, backhoes, and other heavy equipment, shall utilize spotters transporting or maneuvering large loads that obstruct the operator's view of site. Headlights, flashers, and warning alarms, auditory and visual, must be operational and in use. Employees shall not ride on any vehicle or equipment unless it is provided with a seat. Seat belts provided on all heavy and mobile equipment must be worn during operation. Disciplinary action. All site workers agree to comply with established site-specific safety requirements. Failure to do so will result in the use of the disciplinary policy. KCI's disciplinary policy is not a step-by-step process. Disciplinary action will be determined by the severity of the hazard and the employee's knowledge of the requirements. You have now completed the presentation portion of the KCI Site-Specific Orientation. You will now be asked to complete a quiz verifying your understanding and acknowledgement of the information in this orientation. A score of 100% must be obtained on this quiz in order to proceed to work on this project.